a young man who dedicates a significant amount of his performing energy to our troops. Today on the Music Universe podcast.
Oh, hey man, how's it going?
Oh, it goes great. How are you, buddy?
I'm not too bad. Not getting stir crazy myself because I'm staying busy with the website and the podcast. How about you?
Well, yes, last night into this morning was the first day where it was really like, oh gosh, Groundhog's Day. But I enjoy being with my family. Max is here. There's like a room in the house for everybody. My parents are upstairs in the living room. I said today to a colleague, I said, when I finish what I'm doing, I just get up and my commute home is 10 steps to the recliner in front of the big screen TV. And
There
I
you
just
go.
watch TV. I just binge on Homeland and Ozark and Better Call
Yep.
Saul. I just love television a little too much.
And usually I do too, but with all the interviews we've had booked, I've been staying busy with putting together marketing stuff and editing these things that I haven't had a whole lot of time to watch TV.
Our guest today is Lucas Hoge. He is a young country singer, has a very, very strong fan base, has been taking advantage of this quarantine himself to do a lot of Facebook Lives. We talked about that. But I was most impressed with his interest in making sure the troops feel appreciated by performing overseas and everything he does for veterans.
Absolutely. You kind of went there with him. You asked him his age, and you're kind of, making a point there that people, even my age, which I'm around the same age as him, we need to support our troops more. And a lot of millennials, so to speak, I don't consider myself one, but whatever, don't necessarily have that backing of the troops. And I find it disrespectful, but Luke is very involved in that, and makes me respect any artist even more so than I did before when you put the troops on your side there.
I love it.
Lucas Hoge, thank you for joining us here today at the Music Universe podcast. How are you doing in our quarantine time?
Oh man, it's good. Thank you guys first of all for having me on. It's going good, just plugging away, trying to do as much as we can while staying in and keep the wheels turning as much as possible.
What have you been doing creatively to keep those juices flowing, to stay on top of things, stay active while at home?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, obviously I get up every morning and I work out like crazy. Get that pent up energy out first of all. And then I do lots of video writing sessions with my writing tool. And then I'll try and record stuff, in the house here. I've got a little studio in the house that I can record at. And then I do lots of Facebook, Instagram Live, trying to keep up with people on social media, doing all sorts of different things to keep people entertained as well.
This quarantine has basically caused the industry not only to shut down, but find new ways to write and new ways to communicate with each other like people haven't probably really thought of doing, because you could get that in-person writing session with someone at a coffee shop or at home or wherever you guys were doing it. So how does this change things as far as the writing sessions go with the video conferencing?
Well, it definitely is challenging, but thankfully I've been able to do some of these writing sessions like this for quite a number of years with people that are on the West Coast and the East Coast and a lot of people overseas as well. We've sat down and wrote with, and we found out that it is a lot easier with one or two people. Once you get three or more, it gets pretty hard to do. But, we just make do with the most that we've got. And thank God for the technology that we do have in times like this so that we can keep things going as much as possible.
Are these times inspiring any kind of song ideas? We've been asking people, there's probably going to be a lot of art that comes out of this, and I couldn't think of a better situation than this right now for a country music song.
Yeah, there's been definitely a lot of interesting topics that have been brought up in sessions thus far. Some good, some not so good, but all in all, very, very entertaining, to say the least.
Love it. How Buddy mentioned the live streams. I know you're doing one after we wrap here. How has this time allowed you to connect with fans? Do you find that you're closer to your fans now that you have the time at home, or how's that shifting for you as well?
I think we are. We all kind of have to reach out and be more tangible, I guess, to all of our fans, because everybody's out there going through the same thing. We're all literally going through the same thing together. These people that have lost their jobs, and we've lost our tour dates and festivals and things like that. So everybody's literally going through the same really cruddy ordeal. So everybody's got a lot to lose. So it's just great to be able to bring, just a little bit of take them out of everybody's little element for a little bit during the day, if at all possible. And there's so many entertainers that are stepping up to the plate and really opening up themselves and their homes and just everything to just bring a little bit of love around as much as possible.
Oh yeah, totally. We definitely need music to get us through this. I know some artists are delaying album releases, some are dropping album releases, and I know your new album, Dirty South, it ascended to #1 on the Billboard Country Album Sales charts during its debut week. Congratulations, and that's a big feat.
Thanks, man. Yeah, still surreal, thinking back about how everybody pulled together and made it happen, touring all over the world, and everybody just came together, and it was really amazing to have that.
That was 2017, right?
That's correct, yeah.
So now, working on new music, are you going to try to top yourself as far as the statistics are concerned? I mean, do you feel the pressure having achieved that for the next record?
It's going to be really hard with the sales and stuff. I mean, we were right on the cusp of, everybody kind of folding over to pretty much online only and digital and streaming and everything. So being able to top those numbers is going to be tough, but we're definitely topping the production of the music and just the quality of the content. I'm so excited about this new project that we're working on right now. I've got a great producer that's a great friend as well, and he's wanting to sit down, and we're just going to really make this the best that I've ever done, kind of reinvent myself a little bit and come out with a whole new me.
Do you have a timeline on when we might be able to hear that?
There really is no timeline. We're kind of doing, songs at a time these days. So it's not going to be a whole collective of music per se, like an album would be. So we're releasing, probably one song a month or two songs a month and going that route. And at the end, we'll put it in a collective playlist and, probably as a album as well. But, it's just how people are consuming these days.
Yeah, everything's just streaming.
It's so interesting that we got to this point, and that's the evolution, because you take somebody, a lot of the 90s artists like to say, I'm an album artist, and an album paints a picture, and then a lot of the new folks come along like you and say, well, I'm okay releasing it a couple of singles, a couple of releases to iTunes at a time. Where do you fall when you write? Do you try to write for an album, or do you just try to write the song and keep it self-contained?
That's a great question because, I always thought of myself as an album guy too, just because that's the era I grew up on, listening to all those guys putting their projects together. So I was like, I want to have those albums that, tell that story of the evolution of your music and all that stuff. But now, you got to evolve with the times, unfortunately, and fortunately, because everything's so tangible now and everything's just direct to consumer. So it's just those things that you kind of just try and write the best possible song that you can every time you sit down.
And you mentioned that you've toured the world and you're eager to get back out there just like everyone else is. Tell us about your military support. I know you've gone to the Middle East and have performed for the last 10 years as part of the Wrangler National Patriot Tour. Just tell us about your work with that.
Yeah, it was amazing, and it's unfortunate that we won't be able to go this year to keep that ball rolling just because of everything that we're involved in right now with what's happening. But to be able to go over there and to hang out and talk to our servicemen and women that are out there fighting the good fight for us every single day, it's just surreal to be able to sit down across to them in the war zone over there and just take them out of their element for a little bit, show them some love, and tell them how much we all support them back here, and just to keep on doing what they're doing, because if it's not for them, we wouldn't be able to do what we do.
Oh, absolutely. I come from a military background, so I know how important that is. But how scary is that for you, too, to have to go to a war zone and actually do your job?
There was a few, a few times that it got pretty hairy, I ain't going to lie. We were in some little forward operating bases that we probably shouldn't have been, but we wanted to make sure that we got out to as many people as possible and take a little bit of home to them. And so, yeah, there's definitely been a couple times. But, most of the time it's a great feeling. It's a great environment. We've got great people looking out for us. And nobody's really been in harm's way all that much. So it's been fantastic to just be a part of it every single year.
Oh, great.
It's wonderful. I wanted to ask, and it's relevant to what we're talking about. It's not the most polite question, but how old are you, Lucas? How old are you, if you don't mind my asking?
Well, that's a good question.
It's stunning, Matt.
The point.
I'm
the
36
point I
years
want
old.
to. Well, the point I'm trying to make with that is you're at the tail end of what's considered the millennial generation, and our generation gets a bad rap for not supporting the troops and that kind of thing. And it's so great when somebody from my generation, from your generation, does that. So I want to say thank you not only for supporting the troops, but being willing to show it and talk about it, because we don't have enough of that in this country.
I agree.
And I think we need more of it, especially now.
Oh, thank you very much. I feel honored that they keep asking me to go over and then entertain and share the love because, I mean, honestly, if once you go over, I wish we could literally take a giant plane full of people that don't get it and take them over there and let them see what these men and women go through day in and day out for 6 months to a year at a time. And they would definitely change their mind.
I fully support
100%
that.
agree. So, were you scheduled at CMA Fest? That was just canceled. Were you scheduled to do something there?
Yeah, we always do a lot there with booth signings and different stages throughout town. So it's pretty sad to see something like that has been going on for so many years have to cancel. But I think everybody's doing their part to try and whip this thing in the bud as much as possible. So we're going to come out bigger and better on the end.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely, we are.
And I think all the artists, including yourself, who are doing these live streams, just keeps people wanting to. I think it keeps them motivated to beat this thing because they just miss being able to even go out. Which I know it's not a government like mandated that you must stay home. It's recommended, and people just need to do it and go to the internet and check out these live streams and see what you're going to be able to see in person once all this stuff lifts.
Absolutely, man. That's absolutely right. Just got to keep trying to hang tough.
Yeah.
Wasn't that New Kids on the Block song? Hanging tough?
Yeah.
I love that. Yep. Oh my gosh. I saw them. They still got it.
Oh, yeah.
They got the right stuff.
Buddy, knock it off. Well, Lucas, we know you got that live stream to go prepare for. So I just want to say thank you for spending some of this time in isolation with us, and we wish you nothing but the best. And we'll be watching.
Yeah, take care.
Hey, likewise, guys, and feel free to call anytime. I'm happy to come on the show. Appreciate you guys having me on. It really means a lot.
Now, Luke's gonna go far there.
Yes, he is. And there is just so much to look out for. Like I said, he's not really, I don't want to call him a new artist. I knew his name, and I'm sure I've heard some of his songs because I was looking him up. And look, I'm honest. I don't try to BS somebody and say, oh, yeah, I love your work, and I'm not familiar with them at all. Not that you do it. I'm just saying in general, there are
Yeah, me
hosts and producers out there that will feign years-long familiarity. I don't. But see, that's what I love, because sometimes interviews, to me, they can do two things. You can get to the heart of something you've always wanted to ask somebody you're a big fan of, or it's like unwrapping a present, finding out a lot about somebody. I've become fans of a lot. I've become a fan of a lot of artists over the years simply because I've interviewed them or I went to see them in concert for the first time thanks to a press ticket. So I just think it's completely disrespectful.
Oh, yeah.
And I have
Same
to say,
here,
Lucas
same
has
here.
a new fan in me after today and after the work we did to make sure he had a good interview.
Oh, absolutely. And everyone needs to check out his Facebook Live concerts there and chats. I checked one out right after we did the interview, and it looked like he had perhaps, I believe it said it was his uncle playing guitar with him, and that he was FaceTiming and put that in there. Now, you guys may remember him. One thing, and unfortunately, we didn't touch on this. He had a song called "The Power of Garth." Do you remember that one?
Yes, yes, I do.
That was him. It reached 29 on the Billboard Indicator charts in 2018. So
Oh, wow.
big Garth fan, as are we, and we kind of stuck with the talking points that we saw, and we doing these things back to back, so you're bound to miss a few things in there, but that's a good song. So that's that. Hopefully you'll all be familiar with him based on that song. If you're not familiar with the voice, you're familiar with the song, then you can be familiar with the voice.
Alrighty, well, that's it for us today on the Music Universe podcast. I'm Matt.
And Buddy, thanks for listening.